So how do you find, evaluate, and ultimately choose the best realtor to work with? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you 3 simple criteria to do just that, plus 1 bonus criteria at the end. I'm also going to share with you what I think is one of the most shocking statistics in all of real estate, the number 1 pitfall to avoid when choosing an agent. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share with you how showing up to the home inspection for the very first home I was about to purchase and seeing the sheriffs wheel out a body bag on a gurney led to the development of criteria number 3, which is far and away the most important one to use when evaluating and choosing an agent to work with. All right, let's get stuck right into it. Now, before learning how to pick the right realtor for you, it's important to know how most people do it and to know how not to do it. Now, this is going to include that really shocking statistic and the number 1 pitfall most people fall into when choosing the right realtor for them. Now, to start with, let's go over some reasons not to choose a realtor. Number 1, they're your cousin. Number 2, they're your brother-in-law. Number 3, your friend told you to pick them. Number 4, you saw their signs around town. Now look, I'm not saying not to use people because you know and like them. Of course, that's an important criteria. I have lots of family and friends here in Placerville that are entrepreneurs, and we have a thriving small business community, and I truly believe in supporting our small businesses and supporting our friends and family who are entrepreneurs. So I'm not saying don't use these people, and I'm not even saying don't use the fact that you know them and like them or are related to them as one data point in your process of choosing a realtor. I'm just saying don't use it as the only data point, the only reason to choose them, and here's why. Buying or selling a home is far and away the largest single financial transaction of most people's lives. And for that reason, the stakes are high. Here in Placerville, where I live, the median home price right now as of the summer of 2024 is $516,000. That's over $500,000. That's a lot of money. It's a mind-bogglingly lot of money. In fact, for most of us, if we were asked to envision what $500,000 in cash would look like sitting on the table in front of us, we couldn't do it. It is actually literally an unimaginable amount of money. Unless you've made it to the final table at the World Series of Poker, you likely have never seen $500K in cash sitting in front of you and have no idea what that looks like. For this reason, the stakes are high, and for most people, this is a huge financial commitment. So it's important that your vetting criteria goes beyond the fact that you know someone. Now, on the subject of personal referrals, meaning one of your friends told you to work with someone, I love referrals. Like I said, I've been selling homes for nearly 20 years, and my business is based on referrals. Referrals feed my family. I do a great job for somebody, and they tell their friends and family they should use me as well. I think that's a great criteria to take into account when choosing a realtor. But there's one caveat to this. I have found when getting referrals for myself over the years, whether it be to an accountant or a plumber, a shockingly large number of personal referrals come from somebody who has never actually done business with that individual. Meaning they know them, they like them, and they know they're in this business, but they haven't actually used their services themselves. So it's really important if you get a personal referral from someone to just ask them a couple simple questions. Hey, how did it go for you when you used them to buy or sell a house? Or what was the best part of working with them when you did? If they can answer those questions and they have good answers, then this is a high quality personal referral, and you should definitely interview that agent. If they say something like, well, I haven't actually used them, but I know them, they're a great guy, then you better have some additional criteria that you use to vet this person before turning over the reins of your financial future to them. And this brings us to that most shocking real estate statistic that I want to share with you, which involves how people actually choose an agent. So 71% of buyers and 81% of sellers interviewed only one agent and chose the very first agent that they spoke to help them handle the largest financial transaction of their lives. This is absolutely crazy to me. I cannot say it clearly enough that the following 3 simple criteria I'm going to teach you to pick the very best agent for you won't matter at all unless you choose to interview more than one agent for the job of getting your home sold or of helping you buy one. I cannot believe, it is absolutely shocking to me that people will turn over the largest financial transaction of their lives to someone without even considering a second option to make sure they're getting the very best representation for them. If you've been watching a while, you've heard me say it before, but it's worth repeating that the reason I'm so passionate about real estate is that real estate built the middle class. It's often the first rung on the ladder out of poverty for middle class families. It's the primary way that middle class families begin to make generational wealth. And as an asset class, real estate has created more millionaires than any other single asset out there. With stakes this high and the potential upside being that big for your family, you owe it to yourself to interview at least 3 agents to make sure you get the very best representation for you and your family. So why 3? Well, there's a lot of science that I won't go into now that basically says that when we give ourselves more than 3 options, the quality of our decision making goes down and goes down quickly. So stick to 3, interview 3 agents, and that'll get you the very best results. Now, how do you interview them? How do you choose them? Let's go over the 3 simple criteria that will help you choose the very best agent for you, starting with criteria number 1. It'll only take you a minute or 2 to figure out, and that is, how long has that agent been in the business? Now, why do the number of years they've been in the business matter so much? Well, for 2 reasons. The first of which, of course, in any industry, experience matters. In an industry as complex as real estate, with stakes this high for your family, experience really, really matters. But there's another reason too, and it brings us to another shocking real estate statistic, and that is that 87% of residential realtors will fail and be out of the business within their first 5 years. Now that is shocking and sad and a little bit wild that real estate has that high of an attrition rate, but it is a very complex and very hard business to be in. So people fail at an alarmingly high rate. So if you're working with someone who's been in the business 5 years or less, they likely will not be in the business next year. Only 13% of practitioners, the top 13%, make it beyond year 5. Now, to put this in perspective, when you think of other businesses, what's the worst business you can think of with the highest failure rate? For most people, you're going to think restaurants. It's really, really hard to open and sustain a successful restaurant. Well, the 5-year failure rate in restaurants is 80%. It is harder to be a realtor and survive past year 5 than it is to open a restaurant and survive past year 5. So you owe it to yourself to make sure that you're working with an agent that's been in the business longer than 5 years, but I'm going to make the case that they should be in the business longer than 10 years to be considered for the job of representing you in the largest financial transaction of your life. For this reason, when I'm choosing an agent for myself, when I'm purchasing out of town, or when I'm referring out my friends, family, or clients, the very first thing I check is, have they been in the business for 10 years or more? And when I'm choosing the 3 agents that I'm going to interview, I'm going to make sure that all 3 of them have been in the business for at least 10 years. Now, first of all, this means they've passed that 5-year failure rate cutoff, and it means that they are in the business for the long haul. So their reputation matters to them because this is how they intend to feed their family for the rest of their lives. Secondly, it means they've been in the business long enough to have experienced a lot of the challenges that come up in a real estate transaction, and trust me, there are a lot of them, so they'll be better positioned to give you expert guidance to get you through those challenges. So how do you find out? Well, there's 2 easy ways to find out. The first one is just to give them a call. Now, one caveat to this is when you ask them how long they've been in the business, make sure that they've been full-time and active in the business for those full 10 years. Never work with anybody who is a part-time agent. They simply are not going to have the skills to get it done for you and your family. Now, the second way, which allows you to do it without making a phone call at all or engaging with a realtor at all, is simply grab their license number. We as agents, at least in my state in California, have to put our license number on all outgoing communications to clients and to the public. So you can pull it off of their website, off of their business card, off of any email they've sent you. Take their license number, run over to the website for the licensing agency in your state. Here in California, it's the Department of Real Estate, and there'll be some version of this button on their website. Verify a license, verify a licensee, check license status, that type of language. Click that button, put in their license number, and within seconds, you can see their license issue date. Now, there will also be a renewal date, which will make it look like they've barely been in the business at all, so make sure you are checking the license issue date. That'll give you an idea if they've been in the business for 10 years or longer, or at least if they've had a license for 10 years or longer. It doesn't tell you if they've been active and full-time for those years. So for that, you'll have to, if you don't want to talk to them, do a little more digging on the internet and on social media. Or if you're comfortable just giving them a call, give them a call and ask them. So that's it. It's that simple. Criteria number 1 is just to never work with an agent that hasn't been full-time in the business for 10 years or more. Hey, before we go on with criteria number 2 for how to choose the best realtor for you and your family, you may be wondering who I am and why you should be listening to me at all. And that's a fair question. My name is Rich Curtis. I'm with eXp Realty, and I've been selling homes here in Northern California in El Dorado, Sacramento, and Placer counties for nearly 20 years now, in markets ranging from the Great Recession to the COVID market insanity and everything in between. My goal with this channel and everything I do is to help you and your family make the highest quality real estate decisions that you can. So when it comes to Northern California real estate, I've got you covered. All right, now let's get on with criteria number 2 for how to choose the best realtor for you. Criteria number 2 for deciding which realtor is best for you is, do they provide a free informational tool to their community? Now this one is crucial because it helps you decide whether this is a realtor that is transactional, just helping you move the paper around, or whether they have your best interests at heart. It's also a way for you to get a feel for them, vet them, figure out if you like them before ever having to contact them. Now I do this through this YouTube channel. It's beyond the confines of a transaction. It's free information to help you make high quality real estate decisions from the comfort of your couch. You can discuss things with your spouse and your partner, and you never have to call and talk to me or any other realtor at all. You can get a lot of information and be ready to go before you ever have to make that call. Now, it doesn't have to be YouTube or video. A lot of realtors aren't comfortable on camera, and the method or modality of them delivering this information doesn't matter. It just matters that they're doing it and that the information is quality. So some other ways realtors do this is through publishing a community newsletter. Some of them may do a podcast or have a radio show or be on TV, or they might just write a blog. It doesn't matter how they're doing it. They're going to do it in a way that feels comfortable for them. It's just important that they are doing it and that you can get a feel for how they approach problem solving, and you can get vital and crucial information to help you make your decisions from them without being within the confines of a transaction or without having to reach out to them personally and have a phone call. If the realtor is taking the time to do this, to provide valuable information to their community for free, you can be pretty sure this is a realtor that's going to have your best interests at heart, and that's why this is the crucial criteria number 2 for choosing the best realtor for you. So how do you figure this one out? Well, a lot of times you already have a realtor in your community that has been sending you information for years, and you just haven't been paying attention to it because you weren't ready to do a real estate transaction at the time. So if you sit and think about it, someone might pop up that's been sending you a newsletter forever. Or you can Google your local agents and then click on their website, click their social links, look around their Facebook, Instagram. Do they even have those things? And are there links on there to blogs or a click button to sign up for their newsletter or a link to their YouTube channel? Whatever it might be, just do a little digging around on the internet and you'll be able to find out quickly whether this agent has a stock one page provided by their company website that just tells you to call them, or whether they're actually putting valuable information out there to help you. This brings us to criteria number 3, the final criteria for choosing a realtor who's going to be the best for your family. And this is going to come down to how they help you make decisions. And I learned and created this criteria through a bit of a traumatic real estate experience myself. When my wife and I were purchasing our first home, I showed up on the morning of the home inspection to see caution tape up around the home and see the county sheriffs wheeling a gurney out with a body bag on it. Unfortunately, the person who was living in the home passed away in the home. Thankfully, he did pass away peacefully in his sleep of a heart attack, but it created a big hiccup in the middle of this transaction. Turns out he wasn't the owner. The actual owner was in prison on a meth violation, and all of her meth head friends were coming to the house to rip out things like stained glass windows, air conditioning, and copper pipes. Now, you would think if I was smart at all, that would have been enough to chase me away from this house, but it wasn't. I persisted, and I persisted because this was a house in a neighborhood where I could make a lot of money. It was a beater old house, original to the 70s, on almost 2 acres in a neighborhood of high-end homes. Now, this was a long time ago, so the house was around $280,000 at the time, but it was in a neighborhood of homes that went anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million in that neighborhood, which was a really high real estate price for El Dorado County at the time. So I knew if I took the time to fix this house up, my wife and I would make a lot of money. It would be a really wise real estate investment. Now, it might be shocking to you to find out that even professional realtors, which I already was at the time, reach out to other trusted professionals for advice when they're making their own investments. And I chose my father-in-law, who at the time was both a realtor and a licensed contractor who built spec homes. He would build up a house and sell it for profit. I brought him out, showed him the house, told him my plans, and he agreed with me completely. He said, "Rich, you are going to make a lot of money if you do this project." And I was like, "Great, that's a stamp of approval. I need to buy this home." And he said, "But you shouldn't buy it." Now, that's a really interesting distinction to make. This is a good deal. You can make a lot of money on it, but you shouldn't buy it. Now, what he meant by that, as he went on to explain it, was to say that I am not him. I don't like to spend my weekends working on the house all the time, swinging a hammer and fixing things up. He loves that. So for him, it would be both a fun project and a lucrative one. For me, he said, you like to spend your weekends out whitewater rafting, rock climbing, backpacking, playing in the woods, and you don't want to be tied down and swinging a hammer every weekend. So even though you can make a lot of money on this, it's not going to provide the life that you want. I don't think you should buy this house. Now, he was 100% right, and I didn't buy that house. We went on to buy a more turnkey house that we didn't need to work on, and we did indeed continue to spend our weekends rock climbing and whitewater rafting until we decided to have kids. But the point is, he didn't just give me blanket real estate advice. The blanket real estate advice was, yes, this is a good buy and you will make a lot of money on this house. He gave me advice specific to me, the best advice for me. Now, when it comes to a real estate professional, that's what you need and want. You want them to give you the best advice for you, even if it doesn't result in a commission for them at that time. I tell my clients all the time, maybe you don't buy this house now, maybe you'll buy one from me in the future, but we want to make the best decision we can for you and your family. Now, this one's really amorphous. It's hard. How do you tell that? How do you decide that? Well, there actually is a really simple way to figure this out in about 30 seconds. Call up the realtor of choice that you've chosen that you want to vet and ask them this one simple question. Is now a good time to buy? Or if you're a seller, is now a good time for me to sell? Now look, if they answer, yes, now's a great time to buy. Let me send you some listings. Let me get you to talk to my lender. Let's get this going. It's an excellent time to buy. And that's it. Hang up and move on. Give them 30 seconds. See if they follow that statement up with, but let me ask you a few questions first. Then you're working with someone who actually cares about you. Or better yet, if they say, you know, I can't tell you that right now. Let me ask you a few questions and let's find the best solution for you. And then they should go on to ask you questions about your employment, about your financial situation, about what you want out of a home, how long you intend to stay in that home. Do you have elderly relatives that are going to come to move in with you soon? Or do you have elderly relatives in another state that are going to require you to sell this house in a year or two, in which case you will probably lose money on it and this might not be the best choice for you. Now is a good time to buy or now is a good time to sell is blanket advice and it's of no value to anybody. The market mechanics don't matter as much as the life mechanics when making these decisions. So when you call and vet a realtor and you ask them that question, you want to hear them say, I need to ask you some questions first, or I need a little more information first. If they do that, you know they're looking out for you and not themselves. If they just tell you now is an excellent time to do that, let's get cracking on it, then they're just looking out for themselves. They're just processing a transaction. And what you want is a trusted advisor, not a transactional agent. So for that reason, the very most important criteria in determining the best realtor for you and your family is simply ask them that question. Is now a good time to buy or sell? And if they answer by asking you some more questions, you've got the right person for you. Look, I've actually got one bonus criteria for you to help you pick the right realtor for you and your family. I always like to over-deliver and help you make even better decisions. But before we get on with that, if you've made it this far in the video and you've gotten anything at all out of it, hit the like button, click subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss another crucial video to help you make high-quality real estate decisions. All right, now on to the bonus criteria. And this one's gonna sound a little funny, but our bonus criteria for how to choose the best realtor for you is, do you like them? Now I know, like I said, this sounds a little funny. Who cares if I like them if they're gonna make me a lot of money or they're gonna do the best job for me and my family? And I agree with you if you're on trial for murder and choosing an attorney, or if you're going in for open heart surgery or brain surgery. I don't care if my brain surgeon is an arrogant jerk as long as he's gonna keep me alive. I don't care if my attorney's an arrogant jerk as long as he's gonna keep me out of jail. Hopefully I and you never find ourselves in either of those situations. But look, real estate isn't open heart surgery, it isn't brain surgery, and it isn't keeping someone out of jail. We need to keep it in perspective here. It is the largest financial transaction of your life, but you do have the wiggle room to choose a high quality practitioner that you also like. And the reason this is important is because one, you have to trust them, but two, more importantly, you are stuck with them for a while. The average buyer looks for a home over 10 weeks and then spends 30 to 45 days, the average escrow length, purchasing the home. That is a very long time. That is over 3.5 months of your life spent talking to this individual a lot, getting in the car with them, touring homes with them, listening to their perspectives on things, and trusting that they're doing the right thing for you and your family. When it comes to selling a house, this is gonna vary wildly depending on market. Right now, we've got a pretty hot market where people are selling in 30 days or less, but I've been in markets like the Great Recession where it might take us 3-4 months to sell a house. So you can be in a relationship with this person for the better part of half a year in some cases, and you wanna make sure that you like them, that they don't annoy you, that you are not angry or frustrated when you get off the phone with them, and that you believe they really are looking out for you. So in addition to all the other criteria, when you're choosing between the top 3, all other things being equal, pick the person you really like because you're gonna be stuck with them for a little while. So let's review. The top 3 ways to choose the best realtor for you are: have they been in the business for 10 years or more, active and full-time? Do they have an informational value add that they're providing for free to help you make high-quality decisions? And when you ask them whether now is the right time to buy or sell, do they ask you more questions to make sure they're giving the right advice for you and your family? And finally, do you like them and can you spend the next few months dealing with them? Now look, that wraps up our discussion of the best way to choose a realtor, and I hope this information helps you pick a realtor wherever you are. Now, if you're in Northern California, in El Dorado County, Sacramento County, Amador County, Nevada County, Placer County, then I would love it if you would give me the opportunity to interview for the job of being your real estate agent. And if you're in any place else, hopefully this helps you pick the right one. But none of this is gonna matter, choosing the right agent, if you're not sure if now is the right time to buy or not. So to figure that out, click this video right here on whether you should buy now or wait in 2024. It'll give you a sense of my advice and you can see if you think I've got it right or not. Now, maybe you're choosing to sell your house and you're not sure what to do to fix it up or not first before you even call a realtor. Well, then click this video right here on 10 things not to fix before you sell your home. And maybe this whole real estate world and all the jargon and acronyms is making you bleed from the ears and you can't even begin to wrap your mind around it. Then click this video right here with 27 terms in real estate that every buyer and seller should know. It's just a quick run through of the words and what they mean so you can begin to understand the conversations that people around you are having about real estate. All right, as always, I really appreciate you making it to the end with me. Thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one.